the next video is the first. I asked that they break this chase, our technical folks break this chase down into 3 parts, because I think those are the most critical portions of it. You can see how fast it went and how fast decisions had to be made and choices had to be made. This is the first third of the chase. You can see them come out from behind. You can see them come out from behind Brooks's car. That's him fleeing from the fight, and he starts to run. In this picture, if you look closely, and you might not be able to in this medium, but if you look closely, the taser wire is visible in the space between them. So Rolfe is still trying to taser Brooks, and you can tell they're very close because they're only the width of one parking space apart as they run. If you look closely, you can see that Brooks has the taser in his right hand. Okay?
And I'll point out too that during this time, multiple witnesses confirmed that they saw Rolfe trying to tase Brooks, but with no effect. And the reason there was no effect is simply because both probes did not land.
All right, this is the second part of the chase that I asked that we break out to show you. This is part 1. Now it goes on. At that point where you see the flash of the taser, and when Brooks turns back over his right shoulder, and he activates the taser, that's the flash. Rolfe, at this point, you can see he moved his taser to his left hand, and he is moving towards his firearm, which is on his right side. This is at least one of the times that Brooks activated the taser between here and there. Okay? So then the next portion, the next slide, are the breakdowns. Here you see in the circled area, Rolfe is running with his taser in his right hand, and Brooks is running with Brosnan's taser in his right hand. You can't see, but they're attached by a probe, by a wire from Rolfe's taser. Here you see the actual still photograph of Brooks activating the taser over his right shoulder in the direction of Rolfe. You can see Rolfe has either dropped or has moved the taser to his left hand and is starting to move towards his firearm. There's the clear-cut shot of the taser going off. Here, Rolfe actually runs into the red car, but he moves to the red car. That is a second taser discharge right there. Remember, both of the probes are gone. He shot both of the probes. And you can see Rolfe is drawing his weapon at that point. He ends up hitting the fender of the car, and he hits it right around here. So he runs into the car, but you can see his right arm is extended. The experts told us this was the first shot. That you can tell by the change in luminescence of the video that the weapon discharged right here, and that's the first shot. You can see that Brooks is partially turned towards the officer on his right side. He still has the taser on his right side, and he continues to run. From the video evidence, this is directly from the report of the experts. From the video and audio evidence, there were approximately 1.1 second between the time Brooks fired the taser and Officer Rolfe and the time Officer Rolfe returned the fire with his gun. During that second, Rolfe drew his weapon, oriented the weapon in Brooks's direction, and pressed the trigger. Georgia law says that when a suspect threatens an officer with deadly force and then turns before the officer can respond with a gunfire, the result can be a gunshot wound in the back. In this case, however, Brooks fired the taser at Officer Rolfe and continued to aim the taser at him while running away, which turned his body to the right. And at that point, when Mr. Brooks pulled the trigger after deploying the taser at Officer Rolfe. Brooks was able to twist his upper body to his right, reach back with his right arm, and deploy the taser. That meant that Brooks's buttocks were directly towards Officer Rolfe, and the autopsy showed that one of the bullets entered his buttocks.
And this was, and I think Mr. Porter misspoke, this was in Georgia law. This is from the expert report.
Right. I'm sorry. This was from the expert report. And his back was partially exposed, which explains why the two wounds were on the back part of his body.